Hi guys, how's it going? I'm just going to check that I am just on all the platforms, doing all the right things. Hope we're all having a good day. Must be wondering, why am I wearing this disastrous mask on my face when I'm in my home office? But there's a reason for it. I wanted to drop in here and talk to you all about COVID and how I see it as a taster for what we're going to see with the climate crisis once it is absolutely on our doorsteps and unavoidable. To help me continue discussing this with you all, I'm going to put the mask down. But it was really just to highlight that COVID is a taster for what is to come once the climate emergency is no longer just an emergency, but it is a crisis. And it is just as the pandemic is now, it's on our doorstep and really unavoidable because it's right in our faces, which right now a lot of people don't feel that way. A lot of people might not necessarily feel directly connected to it or accountable to what's happening, but it is definitely happening, and it is happening in many ways in terms of, seeing more natural disasters, seeing the effects of temperature rising and acidification and smog impacts and just so many different things. Really, we're already starting to see it in the forms of natural disasters, but also, we are seeing it in the impacts that it's having on supply chains and just trading systems that we currently have in place. It's really a huge disruptor to come. And at the moment, we can hold it at bay and not really connect with what is the future, the near future, in fact. But I don't know if you caught the IPCC report coverage that I did on my 𝐜𝐸𝐬𝐬𝐬 Chats episode. If you haven't, I'll link my YouTube channel in the comments so you can check it out. But it covered what the IPCC felt after doing simulations and mathematical testing and analysis, what they truly strongly felt based on science about how close we are to hitting the 1.5 pre-industrial levels of temperature rise, which is that we're really close. And in the next, somewhere between 7 to 15 years, we're close to hitting the 1.5 if we don't take action now. And the reason I wanted to drop in here is I just want to say that as an individual, we all, each of us has the opportunity to make some changes. And it definitely needs to come from government. There needs to be legislation. I know in Australia, there was a lot of outcry around the last big election that it should have been a climate election and it wasn't, which is really unfortunate. And this time around, we just don't have any time left to waste. It needs to be a climate election, as with everywhere around the world. And with the summits coming up, the COP26 summit coming up in November, hopefully countries like Australia and other countries who are just not doing enough will start to commit to much bigger action that they need to do at a governance level, and in terms of policy and legislative frameworks, and how we support the transition and the pivot towards a sustainable economy. So, it definitely needs to come from government. I don't disagree on that. And it needs to be driven through big corporations and big businesses who have a lot of reach and impact to drive that change, because they're the ones that really control so much of the market and control so much of the way that supply chains operate. So, I absolutely think that it needs to come from them, but I feel that at an individual level, a lot of people still don't feel empowered. They may feel disenchanted, not connected, not accountable. But really, if we look at an individual's impact, especially if you're living in a country like Australia or a Western country with that Western way of living, then your impact is actually quite huge in terms of so many choices that we make on a day-to-day basis. The food that we buy, the clothing that we use or purchase, the way we give gifts, the way we celebrate events, the way we shop, the online shopping market is huge. And it's not to say that all of these things need to just stop. It's really just about how we transform, how we make better choices. For example, with my son's one year birthday, rather than buying the plastic plates and making it a lot easier for us in terms of washing and that sort of thing, we hired all the plates and the cutlery and the glasses, and our family and friends, they just got behind us and helped with the washing. We could have maybe at the time actually probably should have hired someone to wash it as well. But the point is, it may cost a little more to sometimes take some of these actions, because you've got to really plan ahead and think about it, and then set aside the financial support to carry out more sustainable action in the way you do these things, in the way we celebrate birthdays, or in the way that we purchase gifts, or the way we buy food. Organic usually tends to cost more than food that's not organic. And I understand that, and it is a privileged choice. I absolutely appreciate that sometimes making the choice to be more sustainable is coming from a place of privilege. And those are the people that I'm reaching out to, not because, you have, not when I say privilege, I don't even mean you have lots of money in your account. I mean that you live in a Western society and have a Western way of living, and therefore have huge impact through your daily life choices. So I just wanted to really reach out to those people and just encourage that each of us think about this in the way that we buy food, in the way that we use our clothes and purchase new clothes and shop online, all of those things, and start to think about how, at an individual level, we can use our buying power and our voice to demand better of these companies, and demand better of our governments, and demand better of ourselves and in our communities. So, that's really what I wanted to talk to you about. And I think that it's really important to end off with, we don't want to live a life where we're using this all the time and we can't breathe, the natural air, because it's that polluted, or we risk the chance of spreading a disease, because with climate change comes more frequent diseases and spreading of diseases. So there's lots of things that are going to change in our life, and for the worse, if we don't start to take change and take action now. So I hope that you've had some inspiration or some ideas from this, and had some learnings. I love to talk to people about this. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I definitely have some resources as well that I can share in terms of households and what choices households can make, as well as businesses. I primarily work with businesses, but I definitely have some tools for the households to consider. So I might actually drop that in the link as well. But feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.